All right, y'all. We just gonna go live because whatever's happening here, I don't know. I see, I see you on, Vinny. I see you what's going on. I see you on the comments, y'all. I hit the button for the introduction, and nothing happened. No music. That's what happens when you take a couple of weeks off. Stuff just doesn't want to work right. You just gotta wing it. You gotta go for it. You gotta get it with whatever you have to get what you want. Y'all come on in the room. We're back here at the Fryar Place where the conversations are fire. I'm Irving Fryar. I'm the host here at the Fryar Place. Hey, Chris, what's going on? I see you too. Even my comment section, usually I have that in front of me right here, so I don't have to look to the left or look to the right, but that's not working right today. But that's okay. And I know it's because we have a great guest for today. But y'all come on in the room. You're going to be blessed today. I'm going to throw this comment section up and make it a little bit bigger. That way I can see everybody's comment. Wanda, I see you too. Y'all come on in the room. I know it's been a couple of weeks since we've been on. Let me put this on me so you can see me real good. It's been a couple of weeks since we've been on, but great things are happening. I just had to put a pause on the shows just for a few weeks, but we are back. We have some great guests lined up for you in the next few weeks. And today is a brother who is dear to my heart. You all, I promise you, are going to be better. If you listen, if you pay attention, if you make application to the information that you receive today from this podcast here at the Fryar Place, like I say, where the conversations are fire, you will be better. Farmer, what is going on with you? Stay with us today, Farmer. This is good. This is going to be for you. I promise you. This brother is going to say something that's going to enlighten you today, that's going to set you on fire today, that's going to encourage you today, that's going to inspire you today, that's going to put you in a better mindset today so that you can be a better you, be the best you that you can possibly be. So Farmer, stay on the line. Wanda, stay on the line. Chris, stay engaged. Vinny, I need you to stay engaged. There's a whole bunch more people. I see the numbers. And you haven't introduced yourself. Y'all come on in the comments, introduce yourself, say hi, let me know who you are, who's out there watching. And listen, anytime you have a comment or a question that you want to ask myself or our guest today, please throw up a Q, a semicolon, and then write your question. That way my eye will go to that and I'll see your question and you won't be forgotten and we won't overlook you. But I'm not going to prolong the moment. I'm going to bring him right in. You probably saw in the posting of who our guest is today. His name is Kenneth Allen Thomas. This cat is awesome. He's an author. He's a speaker. He's a dancer. He's a choreographer. He's a leadership development coach. This cat has got it going on. And yet he's a young man getting all this done. Father of 4, married. Yep, been all over the world doing what he does, which is making people better. Faith cometh by hearing, and hearing the word of God. There is the power of life and death in the tongue. This cat, this young man, I'm not going to call him a cat. This cat, this man uses his power to enhance the lives of others. He uses his mouth, his tongue. It's said that he is wise beyond his years, and we're going to find that out. Well, you're going to see that. I know that to be true. You're going to see that today. Come on in the room, Kenneth. What's going on, bro?
What's going on? What's going on, Irv? Thank you for having me on, Doc. I'm doing great.
Yeah, I know you're doing great, man. You're killing it right now. You are killing it.
Thank you.
Using your gift to maximize your influence, which is, it's awesome, man. It is awesome. I've known you for years. I kind of saw you on social media, kind of reached out to you. You hit me right back. Over 300,000. You got 300,000 followers on social media.
700.
Oh, excuse me. I didn't mean to short you.
700.
He said, keep it straight, Doc. 700. Don't short me now. Don't short me now. That's awesome, bro. That is awesome. Yeah. And you're doing it just being yourself. Yeah. So let's start. I said you're an author, you're a speaker, you're a choreographer, you're a dancer, you're a leadership development coach. Yeah. Where did all that start? I know you kind of started out dancing. You're from Willingboro, New Jersey. You kind of started out dancing, and it just took off from there. Where did it all start?
Well, man, where do I begin, right?
At the
A lot of the
beginning. No.
dancing at the beginning, right? I know. But yeah, so a lot of the dancing and stuff like that, that began, in my early teen years, being at grandma's house and watching my cousins up in Newark, New Jersey, doing a lot of the party dances and things that they did back then. And I would bring it down to the parties down here in South Jersey. But I didn't get into dance officially for real until I was about 19 after high school. And a friend of mine named Bryce Johnson, which some people may know him as Professor Locke on Instagram. He actually started a dance group in Willingboro and asked me to be a part of that dance group. And from there, I dropped out of college. I was going to college to be an architect. That's something that my mom wanted me to do. And over at Holy Cross, which you coached us at, that was one of the electives that I took. I thought it'd be something that I can probably get into going into to college, but it really wasn't my thing. I just kind of did it because my mom wanted me to. But here's what I want everybody to understand about that. My mom always said, do what you love and love what you do. And if you don't, then you're going to be a slave to everything. You're going to be enslaved to everything. You're not going to have any like real fulfillment doing the things that you don't want to do in life. So for me, I took that and I didn't want to be an architect. I was really only doing it for my mom. And at the same time, I was also paying for college. So I had dropped out and got into dance. And she didn't think that was the smartest move at the time. But when she saw me in the movies and she saw me on TV and she saw me on, BET and the step up movies and things in that nature, everything started to change. And I started to actually go into the role of entrepreneurship, creating my own platform, my own way of getting around the world through dance. And I just found this thing that was within myself that I was more than just a dancer. I'm a connector. I'm a communicator. I'm somebody that communicates in a way that helps people see things that they don't even see in themselves, and in understanding how they can unlock the potential that they have truly in their life. So dance for me was a training ground for what I'm actually doing today, and where I'm at today as a leadership coach and a personal development trainer. I'm someone who has been through the fire for real in many different ways, which is why I'm able to give off the information that I give and actually apply it to and help people apply it in their life. A few years ago, my son Christian, who was born with Down syndrome, that's where things really started to shift, where things started to take shape for me, where I really started to think like, I had to answer the call. And I like to say oftentimes I traded in my career for my calling. I look at, my dance career as something that I love to do, but it wasn't something that I was called to do for too long. It was only a short stint, a short period of time. And the tools that I needed for that helped me where I'm at today. And when my son was born with trisomy 21, which is Down syndrome, and we had developed cancer in June of 2018, that's where everything really started to shift and take shape in my life.
And you were able to help him, from what I understand, to overcome what the doctors thought were going to be was going to be a certain period of time in like 126 days or 49 days.
149 days. Yep.
Tell us about that. From the diagnosis to the time that 150th day. What transpired and what was the outcome?
Absolutely. So Christian was born with a rare blood disorder. That rare blood disorder left him in the hospital in the NICU for about 10 days when he was first born. So, for those that don't know, we have a certain level of platelets in our bodies, right? Platelets are your red blood cells. So when you get a paper cut, all the red blood cells rush to that paper cut to clot the blood so that you don't continue to bleed to death. Christian, like many other children that have Down syndrome, sometimes they're born with low platelet counts. Sometimes they're born with heart defects, brain defects, different things. Like everybody is different, but for Christian specifically, that low blood disorder, he was born with like maybe 10 to 15,000 platelets, which is really low. And it's kind of like at the danger level where they want you to be like around 55 and rising from there as they continue to grow. So the doctors explained to us when he was first born that at some point in time in his life, he could develop leukemia. And I rebuked that right away. I'm like, we don't do none of that. So my faith was already on high. And I just said, you know what, we just going to battle it and we're going to go through. But not knowing the first 14 months of my son's life, we were in and out of the hospital, in and out of the doctor's office at least 3 times a week, getting his blood work drawn. And, poor little guy, they was just poking him just to make sure that and keep everything on cue, make sure that he wasn't, those cells wasn't turning into leukemia.
Right.
Unfortunately, June 19th, 2018 is when everything shifted, everything changed in our life, where we're going to a regular checkup over at CHOP in Philadelphia. And by this time, his hematologist has said that she had wanted us to go see a second opinion over at CHOP. We go there, we thinking we're going to be about 45 minutes. My other kids, they did well in school. And we said, you know what, we're going to go to Dave and Buster's afterwards. So we had the whole day planned out. And what ended up happening was 45 minutes turned into 32 days in the hospital.
Wow.
Right. Which is
Wow.
so crazy. So at this point in time, the doctor comes in and says, hey, listen, we're going to have to rush your child down to, the emergency room and do surgery right away. And we're like, wait, what's going on? Well, your son has AMKL leukemia. All right, doc, we'll slow down. What exactly is that? And that basically means he has a blood cancer. And that cancer is known in a lot of children that have Down syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
So what are we looking at, doc? We're looking at possibly, a year-long recovery, about 300 days or so. And at that point, this is what I want everybody to understand. And listeners, I want you to really, really catch this here. Okay. In the moment of challenges, in the moment of triumph, when you're hit with, a storm, you choose how you respond to the situation.
Mm-hmm.
I chose to remove myself from the situation to go speak to my coach. I had to go get the play call, right? And oftentimes for, football fans and everything out there, in high school, you got to run back to the sideline to get the play call from the coach to bring it back to the team in the huddle.
Preach,
That's what
man.
I did. You know what I'm saying?
Preach,
That's,
man.
you know what I mean? That's what I did, for my coach. went to the sideline. I had to go pray about it. I had to go talk to God about it. And he said these words. He says, set the atmosphere. Specifically that, set the atmosphere. Sometimes you got to understand how to remove yourself to improve yourself. See, we can't necessarily tackle everything head on. Sometimes we need a strategy in order to attack, the defense that's coming up against us. And that's exactly what I had to do. I went ahead and removed myself from the room as soon as I found out, and then got the play call, go back to my family, prayed around Christian before an ounce of chemo even hit his body, before a doctor even came in to give us, what they were going to do next. Setting the atmosphere wasn't just the prayer. It was setting up the doctors and everybody else to know that when you come inside this hospital room, listen, I don't care if you're a nurse, a doctor, a tech. I don't care if you're a tarantula. You come in here, you got to come in with a positive attitude and a positive
Yes.
mindset.
Yeah.
There's no negativity. I get it, doc. I get that you got to do what you got to do, but I need you to understand I'm not just any patient here. My son is just not any normal person here. This is different. So I'm not sure how you do it with everybody else, but with us, this is how we got to do it. Positive attitude, tell your team, display that to everybody else. And from that point, that's how we operated. And that's how we attack the situation. And I believe that's because of the foundation that I truly grew up on. You can either be a lighthouse or you could be a sandcastle at the end of the day. And I never seen a sandcastle that's alive today sit there and stand the test of time or whatever against any type of storm or hurricane. So I choose to be the lighthouse because we built on a firm foundation, which is that rock.
Yes, that sand is unstable.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
it is. That,
Yes,
and the
sir.
lighthouse is on the rock. So the next 149 days,
Yeah.
what exactly transpired, and what was the outcome?
Yeah. So 7 days in, we'll go back a little bit. 7 days in, I ended up starting dancing for Christian. Now at the time, I owned a dance studio called the Level Dance Complex in Pensacola, New Jersey, which was my dream to do. I always wanted to own a dance studio since I started dancing. My wife and I, we had owned it. We had about 70 kids in at the time, and
Nice.
I actually had to end up shutting my dance studio down, obviously to care for my son and my other children. My other 3 kids at the time, we got 5 kids now, or whatever, but at the time we only had the 4.
You better slow down, man.
I know. I'm done, bro. I'm done.
Listen, look, you're spitting wisdom right now. Let me spit some wisdom at you. You better slow down.
I'm done. I promise.
But go ahead, bro. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's okay. So 7 days in, I'm back and forth. This is all new to us. This is brand new territory. We had no clue exactly how this was going to transpire and go down. Bringing food from home into the hospital room, or ordering food, or we just had our village helping us at this moment and at this time. And 7 days in, I'm gonna be honest, like my brain was like fried up. Like straight up. Like I'm like, what am I doing? I'm driving over the Ben Franklin Bridge and a ball of tears just start coming down. And I'm like, God, what do you want me to do? Like I am trying my best to cope with this situation, but that was a moment where I had to be a little vulnerable. That was a moment where I said, you know what? I'm gonna give everything to you and I'll follow your lead. And he said, yo, do what you do best. Use your gift to make the shift. Somebody better write that down. Use your gift to make the shift.
Y'all write that
Right?
in the comments. Use your
Right
gift
there.
to make the shift. Boy, I love it. I love it.
Use your gift to make the shift. What is the thing that you have that's already inside you? Right?
Mm-hmm.
What is the thing that you have that's already inside? That's going to be prominent with what I'm about to say. So pay close attention. Okay. I had to start using my gift of dance, using my gift of movement to help my son. Doctor said that he was going to get tired. They said that he was going to be weak. They said that he wasn't going to want to eat or anything like that. Let me tell you something. My son was born with Down syndrome and he had low muscle tone. And he hasn't sat up in 14 months. Normally, kids at 14 months are sitting up by themselves and even walking.
Right.
Christian was not. Chemo had hit my son's body. By the time I started dancing with him, my son finally had sat up by himself. My son finally stood up and he started bouncing and started moving, started grooving with me. Because here's what happened. Remember, I said set the atmosphere, no negativity in the room. The doctors had brought in some of the musical therapists at the time. When he brought those musical therapists in, dude, like Irv, I was about to like drive myself crazy if I had to hear one more ukulele in that hospital room. Like I'm telling you, I said, hey, I said, listen,
Not the
no,
ukuleles.
the ukuleles. I'm like, nah, fam. Listen, no disrespect, y'all. I appreciate what you're doing, but sometimes you got to remove certain people out your life and not feel
Mm-hmm.
bad about it. Okay. So I removed the musical therapist away. I told my wife, I said, yo, throw on some James Brown, throw on
We
some
need some
funk
bass
music.
up in here.
Let's
We need
let's
some
get let's
bass,
get
some
that. We
soul,
need
some
some
funk.
we need some
Yeah.
soul, some funk.
This is
We
what
need
we
some of
do.
that.
Yeah, this is
Let's
what we
go.
do and how we
Right?
do it. Yeah.
Let's go. So I told her to throw that on, and I started getting down with my son. That started to change the mood inside the hospital room. And next thing you know, we posted it on Instagram, posted it on Facebook, just to let everybody know, hey, we're all good. And the next thing you know, that thing started picking up speed, started going viral and all that stuff. And I never went viral before for anything.
Right.
And next thing you know, I started doing it again and again and again because it was not only helping me, it was also helping my son mentally, and it was also helping other people at the same time. So
Mm-hmm.
again, use your gift to make the shift. And lo and behold, day number 32 comes. We all know singer-songwriter Sierra. She came out with that song called Level Up. My dance complex was called Level Dance Complex. My Summer's number levels went up after the
Mm-hmm.
first round, and we were able to go home for after round one because
Wow.
and then I used that song that same day to celebrate Level Up, Level Up. Not knowing 2 weeks later that well, actually the day that I did that, it went viral, had over 1 million views in over 24 hours. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. And Irv, next thing you know, the CBS, NBC, Fox News, the Canadian news, the Italian news, the Chinese news, Japanese news, everybody's hitting me up saying, hey, can you do an interview? And I'm doing a whole world circuit here.
Wow.
And I'm on Ellen, on Steve Harvey show, on all these different shows while my son is fighting cancer, not knowing that God is working out something and
That's
saying, hey,
yeah.
we're going to use this right now to heal other people as well too. Your son's going to be all right. Everything is going to be okay. And just keep dancing, just keep using your gift, just keep using the thing that I've already put in you.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, 2 weeks later, Sierra pops up surprising us at my dance studio. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. Like,
Wow.
I didn't even know that was going to happen. You
Shout
know,
out to
Russell
Sierra.
Wilson,
Yeah.
shout out to Sierra. You know, Russell Wilson gave us, some gifts and everything from training camp. And the thing is that I was like, wow, this is God, you doing something here. And I'm not sure exactly what, but I'm going to just keep going along for the ride. And as we kept dancing, doctor said that my son was going to be battling cancer for over 300 days. After round one, and after Sierra had came to see us, round 2, 3, and 4, and 5 were all cut down from 17 days, 16 days, 15 days, 14 days, right?
Mm.
Where doctors said that we were going to be battling cancer for 32 days or more. Now, here's why I really want you guys to catch it. This is why use your gift to make the shift is so important. Christian was born with trisomy 21. That basically means each person is normally born with 23 chromosomes from mom, 23 from dad. That means you have 46 on average. Christian has 47. his 21st chromosome has 3 copies of the same gene, right? 3 is significant, okay? Here's why. Because that particular cancer that Christian battled, that Christian faced, if you or me were to have that particular cancer, we would have a 30 to 40% survival rate. But because Christian had the extra gene that was already implemented into him at birth, he was able to beat that cancer and have an 80 to 90% survival rate versus anybody else. See, we look at special needs as a downfall. We look at it as something that, oh my God, something is wrong with them. No, 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 no. God know what he's doing. And he used that particular gene to help my son defeat that cancer. And within 149 days, doctors were sitting there saying, this is amazing. This does not happen. This is, pretty much a miracle that he's beaten it so fast, so quick. And I believe that not only was it the gift that he already had in him, but also the faith that was added on, the mindset that was tacked on to that. But here's the thing, applying it daily and never, never, never waving from what now. I don't want you guys to understand. I want you guys to understand that yes, we had our days. No, every day was not peachy. No, every day was not, the greatest. But it's in those moments, in those times where we leaned on not our own understanding, but we leaned on what we know to be true. If we woke up this morning, right, then we know that we got a shot. If we woke up this morning, we know that we're being unshakable. So from there, Christian is now declared cancer free, and it'll be 5
Ooh,
years cancer free in November.
ooh,
Yep. Yep.
ooh, ooh,
Yeah. Yes,
ooh.
sir. Yes,
Listen,
sir.
I heard the whole thing with the 23 cells or genes from the mom, 23 from the
Yeah.
father. You got 46, but he had 47. He had that
Yep.
extra one.
Yeah, the extra
We
one.
we know that where that extra one came from. Yeah,
Yes, sir.
because that's what we all have. We
Yes,
all have
sir.
that extra one battling on our behalf. And with that
That's right.
extra one, we can overcome, good God Almighty, we can overcome anything. It doesn't
Come on.
matter. We're going to be all right. That's the
Yes,
power
sir.
of God working in our lives. And
Mm.
just like Kenneth just said, everybody, listen, we all go through what we go through. Everybody who's listening right now or who will listen to this podcast, we're all fighting something. We're all battling something. But if you're a believer
Yep.
and you have faith, just like Jesus told Peter,
That's right.
Satan desires to have you. He's going to fight you. He's going to try to take you out. He's going to try to kill you. But don't worry about it. I prayed for you, Jesus said. Not that you wouldn't fail. Not that you wouldn't feel like giving up. Not that you wouldn't feel bad. Not that you wouldn't have your days. But I prayed that your faith would fail not, so that when you're in those moments, you keep the faith. And if you keep the faith, God will keep you.
Come on now.
If you keep
Come
the
on now.
faith, it doesn't matter what goes on. It's going to be all right because God
Be all
will
right.
keep you.
Yeah.
Good God
Irv,
Almighty.
let me say this. Let me
Go,
say this.
go
And
ahead.
just to
Go
add,
ahead.
on to that, right? Y'all got to understand something. Not only am I, is my son battling cancer, but I'm also losing my dance studio at the same time. Not only am I losing my dance studio at the same time because kids started to drop off because I had to be there for my son, right? At the same time, I'm about to lose my home, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell y'all how God really, really, really worked.
Tell us
Okay.
how God really works.
Let me tell y'all how he worked. We didn't miss a meal, right? We didn't miss not one meal. I put out this shirt called Fight Christian. And let me tell you, in that time, between inside that 149 days, we grossed over $75,000 in worth of t-shirt sales, right? Just to help my son and support our family for what we needed during that time frame. Not only that, okay, the landlord at my house, now we lost the business at this time. I had to choose between the home in the business. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now I had to pretty much like start everything over and go from the top again. And as I'm doing these messages on Instagram and pushing people at the same time, my family was still going through it financially. And it was not the most comfortable feeling. But
Mm-hmm.
God said, continue to work. I'm gonna work in you. Just don't worry about nothing. Don't worry about it. You're going to have manna every single day. Not only are you going to have manna, you're going to have fresh manna every single day. So when it came to the home, okay, for about 18 months after, what people don't know is that every 1 in 4 families of people that fight childhood cancer, they lose about 40% of their income or more. We lost 65% of our income,
Mm-hmm.
right? We lost 65% of our income. So we only had a little bit left. Fortunately, I still had a couple dance jobs that I was still doing, weekly to at least have some consistent inflow, some consistent cash flow coming in. And about 18 months go by and we're fighting for our home, where my landlord had the for sale sign out for 18 months here in our home.
Mm-hmm.
3 contracts went on our home, 3 of them, where people were going to buy this home. And on the 90th day, right? You got 3 months to buy this thing. On the 90th day, it fell through every single time. In October of 2020, I just kept saving my money, and whatever I got something extra, we put it to the side.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I wanted to go ahead and buy this home. Okay. And I wanted to buy this home, and I said, you know what? I'm going to buy this home. I told my landlord, let's do it. We're going to make it happen. I found somebody that was going to be able to do the title, all that stuff. Right. Now, I didn't have the way my credit was set up and everything. I couldn't really apply for the first time home buyers and all that other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I had to go private lender. When I went private lender, that means I'm going to have to raise the percentage up even more. Normally you put down 10%, but you go private lender, you got to put down 20%.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to put down 20%, but I only had half of the 20% of what I needed to put down until the day before signing. Let me tell you something. I had to put down over 40 grand on this home. I only had 20. Okay. The day before, I had a friend call me up and say, hey, I know about your story. I know what's going on. My question to you is how bad do you want this home? I said, listen, I don't know what else we're going to do, but I need a home for my family. I need a home because I don't have everything in order, but I know God's going to figure out a way. She said, send me your bank account information. The day of signing, mind you, I only had half the day before signing. Okay. I'm telling these people that I'm coming with the cash to sign this or whatever. We're going to do this deal.
You speaking it. You spoke it.
Mm-hmm. I'm speaking it. Not only that, somebody hit me up on Instagram and said, walk around your house 7 times. And I'm like, and if y'all know that story of Jericho, I walked around 7 times. And as I did that, the next day, boom, I wake up and that cash was in my account. I go to the bank. I get the check. I bring the check for $47,000 to at signing. Now I'm a homeowner. Don't play with God.
Won't he do it? Won't he do it? That's the old school right there. Won't he do it? Yes, he will. Oh my gosh. And you know what? That just those kinds of things, when they manifest in our lives, and there's no reasonable, rational explanation as to why it happened, other than the fact that it was a miracle of God, a wonder that God performed in our lives. That just builds our faith even the more, so that when the next challenge comes, and this is something that everybody needs to realize too. You're here today. You've overcome some things in your life. So when the next thing comes, the next trial, the next hurdle, the next challenge, just remember what God has already done. No, it's speculation to try to believe or try to talk about the future. That's speculation. Absolutely. But we know what God has done for us in the past. And if he's done it before, he didn't bring you to this point just to drop you off and leave you. He'll continue to work in your life to get you to where he wants you to be. And he will give you the desires of your heart. As long as we stay in his will and stay in his word and walk according to the path that he has placed before us, allow him to order our steps, God will manifest his miracles in our lives. And today, God does the same things today that he did back in the first century. People don't think God performs miracles today. I believe God will do that. He'll put money in your bank account. He'll have a check show up in your mailbox. Yes, he will.
Absolutely.
Listen, we got. Let me say hi to. Just hold on. Let me say hi to Florence and Cheryl. I think Cheryl Williams said, I know him. I didn't know he was from Willingboro. Yeah, you know him. A lot of us know him. Stu Winrow, what's going on? My sister Hope is on. South Carolina, what's going on? I see you. I told y'all you were going to be blessed today. Man, you're going to make me throw this phone and run around my basement. That's Cheryl. Well, throw the phone and run around the basement. Go ahead. We'll give you time. Yeah. We ain't going nowhere. If you need to shout right now, you need to shout. I told y'all today was, and we're going to have this cat back on. We're going to have him back on today because just an hour is not going to be enough. He has so much to share. He has so much in him. I'm just going to continue to poke the bear and let whatever oozes out of him ooze out of him so that we all can be blessed today. You talk about live beyond measure and be unstoppable. Change your mind, change your game. If you change your mind, it'll change your game. So talk about that, where that came from. Obviously, it's from God. God has given you that vision. But talk about the concept behind that.
Yeah, so when I was in the hospital, I had a dream. Okay, and I don't remember many dreams, but let me tell you, I know for a fact when God gives me something, it will always stick with me. Okay, I've only remembered like a handful of dreams in my life, but this particular one, there was a centipede crawling up the wall inside the my room. Okay, and this is like maybe like I'm in the hospital at this point, sleeping on the cot, centipede crawling up the wall. And I'm not a bug guy, neither is my wife. So I smacked the centipede in the dream. And when I smacked the centipede turned into a moth. And when I smacked the moth turned into a bat. The bat flew into a ceiling fan, right? And the cup of the ceiling fan is normally like this, but it was upside down like this, kind of like the Asian hats or where you
Mm-hmm.
see like Raiden from Mortal Kombat and everything look like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see a ring of bats hanging from the actual lamp. And as I saw that, right, God was saying specifically, Kenny, look at it from a different perspective. Look at your situation right now. Look at it from a different perspective. You see it one way, but if you turn this thing upside down, you're going to see it my way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he was saying to me, listen, when we change the mind, we change the game. Okay, when we change the mind, we change the game. Listen, Romans 12:2, right? Do not be transformed to the ways of this world, right? But
Mm-hmm.
be conformed by the renewing of your mind. And when I
Mm-hmm.
started to change my mindset and on things on the outlook, what I see is something different. What I see is God doing something different because the naked eye, the one that doesn't have faith, or the heart that's hardened, is not going to really receive or can't really receive, the seeds that are being stored in.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started to come up with this concept of when we change the mind, we change the game, what I started to see was so many people online really was going through it. There were people that had suicidal thoughts. There were people that were going through depression. There were people that were having relationship issues, faith issues, all these different things. And I just
Right.
started to preach that message over and over and over again. I'm like, listen, guys, you can truly live beyond measure. Right. I heard a wise man once say, how can the sky be the limit if there's footprints on the moon?
Mm-hmm.
Right? I better catch that. All right, write
Mm-hmm.
that down. How can the sky be the limit if there's footprints on the moon?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because we oftentimes live in a society that tries to limit us and limit our thinking and limit where we can actually go.
And they
Right?
limit
It's
us
all
by labeling us. They put a
by
label on
label.
us to try to limit
Yep.
us. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. So what I started to do was I started to really, really engage more into professional speaking, coaching, because I saw so many people that needed the help. I had this guy hit me up in my DMs and he said, listen, man, if you didn't post these videos with you and your son, I was going to sit there and shut the lights off and take myself out. And I said, wow, that's when I started to peel back. Kenny, why continue to sit there and backup dance for other people when you're supposed to be front line leading? When you were born to be a leader, why sit there and dance for a stadium of 10,000, 20,000 when you can reach the entire world where there's millions and billions of people that need a message, right? Now, I don't know exactly who needs the message. And oftentimes you'll find me saying somebody needed to hear this or this message was for somebody because I don't know. All I know is that I am called and being obedient in my walk, and I'm called to sit there and make sure that I deliver the message. And I want people to understand, like, you got to have an unshakable mindset. Okay, moving forward in your life here in 2023, we got to start living unshakable. Okay, there's a lot of stuff that's being thrown out there into the world, and there are a lot of people that are faced with many, many different challenges. And some of you guys are on here today, and you probably don't even feel that you have the ability to overcome the challenges that you're facing and everything right now. Listen. I'm 39 years old. I'm a really, really young man, but I'm here to tell you straight up and down, you can overcome a lot. Now, I'm a man that, if we go back, even more, like the things that I faced, even with my mother having cancer when I was in my early 20s, that was, the preview of what I was going to face when my son had cancer. And me and my mother are like this. Okay. And seeing my mom go through it, seeing my mom beat it, seeing my mom handle that with and face that adversity and overcome and saying, hey, I'm gonna be all right. That gave me the confidence that I knew that, okay, my son could beat this. This is going to be easy work, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because and I say easy work, but I know it's going to be hard things to do. Okay, but you just got to believe it at the end of the day. So what I want to give people is, what are some practical things that you can do? And I'm going to give you guys a quick exercise that you can do right here, right now. I'm not somebody that just, speaks and wants to motivate you, because motivation, some people don't like going to the gym, but they stay disciplined to go, right? To make sure to get that workout in. So check this out. the pillars of strength. Okay, and this is a free tool, and you guys can go on my YouTube page and everything and see the entire thing. But the pillars of strength is something that I used inside. It's something that God gave me that I created. I want you to imagine two pillars right here. Imagine my hands as two pillars. There's one on this side, one on the other side. I want you to take a piece of paper, and on that piece of paper, I want you guys to write down on the outside of the pillars, write down all of your struggles that you're facing in life. Every single struggle, be open and honest with yourself. Okay. Do it like and do this daily. All the struggles, whatever you face. I don't care if it's one thing, I don't care if it's 100 things. Write them all down. And then on the inside of the pillars on that same sheet, I want you to write down every single strength that you have. I don't care if it's 2, I don't care if it's 3, I don't care if it's 4, I don't care if it's 100. Write down every single strength that you have. Then after you've written down all of that, okay, you've written down all the struggles, you've written down all the strengths. I want you to sit there and look at all your strengths, and I want you to see what struggle that you can see that can take that strength can take out that particular struggle. How can that struggle be combated by the strength that you have? Okay. For example, if you look at the story of Samson, which is where I got this concept from, story of Samson at the end of his life, you saw that he was inside these two pillars, right? And you saw the Philistines out there mocking him, chastising him, all that stuff, right? Gouging his eyes out. My man looked brutal. But he said these words. He said, God, give me your strength, right? Give me your strength. And pretty much I'm paraphrasing, but don't let me go out like this. Give me your strength one more time so that I could take these guys out so that your name prevails at the end of the day. And he ended up pushing those pillars out. The strength that you have within will push those the struggles that you have on the outside out of the way for you to actually prevail and do what it is that God has called you to do and walk in purpose on purpose. So don't ever forget that. Focus on your strength, right? And watch God do the rest. Come on now.
Walk on purpose in your purpose.
In your
Good
purpose.
God Almighty, boy, you
Yes,
you
sir.
something else, Doc. I knew this was going to be good.
Yes,
You
sir.
said something. You said something. I'm just going to go back. You said something a little while ago about career and call. How you left your career to embrace your calling. And obviously, if y'all don't know it, who are watching right now, I see you, James Hicks. Watched you last night, bro. Thanks for being with me today. My aunt said, "Woo!" It's obvious. It's evident that you are in your calling. This is your calling, brother, and I am so proud of you. Yeah, I knew you when you were in high school, but this is absolutely blowing my mind. It's absolutely awesome that you're walking, living, operating in the will of God, and how God is elevating you to a place where you're nationally known. Actually, you've been embraced by celebrities, national. Steve Harvey, don't get no bigger than that, you know.
Yeah.
You've been all around the world, Tokyo and Rome and stuff. Yeah. But man, it's just awesome. And here you are on the show. But I believe that never would have happened had you not left your career, that which you love, because your mama said, do what you love what you do, or you'll be a slave to everything, right?
Yep.
So you were doing what you loved.
Yes, sir.
But you left what you love to embrace the call.
Yes.
Tell people, because there are people who are struggling with that. There are people right now who are struggling with that, because sometimes the call isn't as glamorous as the career.
Yeah.
Sometimes if I'm walking in my calling, I might not be able to drive the Mercedes.
Yep.
If I'm walking in my calling, I might lose my house.
Yep.
If I'm walking my calling, people are not going to know my name, so to speak. You know, I have to live a certain kind of way when I walk in my call, because my call, your purpose comes from God. Our purpose, whatever purpose you have here on this earth, is God given, because God created us, and the creator of a thing knows the purpose of a thing. So whatever that call is, it's oftentimes not as glamorous and not as fulfilling, you know, in terms of the carnality and our flesh. It's not as fulfilling as the career. Talk about that, and was there a struggle for you even in that, in spite of all the other stuff, in addition to all the other stuff you were battling with that? Because I think that's very important for people to understand, that when you're walking in the will of God, regardless of what else is around or whatever else is available to you, that's the best place to be.
That's right. We have to ask ourselves this serious question. Are you ready to do hard things? That's a serious question, right? It's easy to go out and do the things that you know that you can do. Go ahead and get that career. You know, you got money coming in. You're good. Everything is great. You know, financially, monetarily, right? But what's the purpose? See, I live by, the sense of I want to die empty. I don't want to die full. And if that's the case, if I want to die empty, then therefore I want to make sure that I am emptying myself out every single day, no matter what. No strings attached. Listen, yesterday is gone. Tomorrow will worry about itself. And today
Mm-hmm.
is all we have. And if today is all I got, I don't know what tomorrow brings. I can't even worry about that. I can't even see that far. Right. That's not saying don't plan for tomorrow. However, right now is what all I have to worry about and work on. So for me, in that sense of focusing on the calling, right, it was probably one of the most scariest times of my life, because at that time I said, okay, I don't have the dance studio no more. I gotta support my family, right? And I look outside and I see the birds eating. True story. I see the birds eating. I see the birds in my yard. I see them in my backyard. And I'm like, God, you said if you're gonna feed the birds, what makes me think that you're not gonna feed me too?
Mm-hmm.
So order my steps in your word. And I remember this song, and it sticks with me to this day. Sometimes it's those old school songs,
Yes,
those
sir.
old
You
school
know it.
gospel songs that really, really, really,
Th-
that you can't stand when you're a young buck. You can't stand it when you're a young buck. But when you get older and you get a little bit more wisdom under your belt and you attach yourself to wise individuals, right? And that's a key thing. Attaching yourself to wise people and good counsel and keeping many good counsels around you, that's when it starts to stick. So I started to say, order my steps in your word, dear Lord. Lead me, guide me
Every
every day.
day.
Send your anointing, Father, I
Father,
pray.
I pray.
Order my
Order my
steps
steps in
in
your
your
word.
word, right?
Yes.
And that right there is I still say it to this day. I still say it constantly, because the thing is that when you're walking in your calling, sometimes you can get lost, right?
Mm.
But the second that you get lost, here's the key. You have to make sure that you have a heightened awareness of where you're at. That means you got to be real on where you at. You got to be vulnerable of where you're at, okay? And you got to say, God, I don't know where I'm at. I don't know where I'm going. Order my steps. And it's okay to pause for a second so that the GPS can redirect you on where you're supposed to go. The GPS ain't lost. You lost, right? So therefore, God is going to make sure that you get yourself on the right track. So during this time, I said to my mom, I said to my sister, I believe this is what I'm supposed to do. I believe I'm supposed to be a coach. I believe I'm supposed to speak, but I need more tools. I just can't go in. I got an inspiring story, but that's not enough. People need works. People need tools. People need they need evidence that this stuff actually works. So I need to go back and I need to go learn. So I went to go figuring out, well, who's the best of the best that I know. So I started studying John Maxwell. I started
Mm-hmm.
studying Tony Robbins. I started studying Eric Thomas. I started studying these guys and I started getting in their courses. I said to my mom and my sister, the first course I took was a course by Eric Thomas. It's called it was a speaking course on how to speak to success or something like that. I can't really remember, but it was $800 and I didn't have it at the time. And I asked my mom and my sister, I said, "Hey, this is what I'm supposed to be doing and I'm asking y'all, you know, if you guys can help me pay for this tuition so I can go ahead and get this training." And they helped me at the time and they paid for the course. And I'll never ever forget that, because that was the launching pad that I needed, and the information that I learned from that particular course led me to doing what I do now, right? And as I started to go along, I started to make more connections and network a little bit more and start to see that, God is throwing more people my way that need to hear what I have to say or that can help me and get me to where I need to be. So I started taking courses from John Maxwell, Tony Robbins, and graduating from those particular programs. See, the thing is, I wasn't afraid to walk in the calling, but the thing was, it was the hard work behind it that I had to get in. That's where people get discouraged, right? We look at things like, man, it's going to take 12 months to do this. It's going to take 24 months to do that. But for real, that flies by in an instant, very, very quickly. We just have a weird mindset about it. Here's what I want you guys to understand. Okay. Here's a good way to put it. Let's take the breath of life. Okay. Let's take the breath of life. We got to understand how many gifts we've actually been getting since the day we've been born.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Think about it like this. The average person, Irv, breathes at least 23,000 times just in one day. Just in one day,
Mm-hmm.
scientifically speaking. Just in one day, 23,000. Now, everybody that's in the chat right now, I want you to take 23,000. I want you to multiply it by how many days that you've been living. And that's how many blessings that you've been getting in just one area of your life. One area of
Just
your
one
life. So
area.
just one area. We ain't talking about you seeing. We ain't talking about you eating. We ain't talking about you walking. We ain't talking about none of that. We talking about just you breathing. And the fact that I knew that God, you giving me life, you giving me breath. How dare I not walk in the calling that I'm supposed to be walking in, right? How dare I? Because you gave me this life. You gave me this breath. I didn't wake up on my own. You woke me up, right? So if I embody that and embrace that, I
Mm-hmm.
know for a fact that, okay, yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, it's going to be difficult. But I want you to really think about it. When your life is over, did you really accomplish everything that you were supposed to? When you go ahead and meet God or whatever at the end, do you want him to say, "Good job, my good and faithful servant"? Or, right, is he going to sit there and say, "Hey, be God from me, I never knew you"? Right? Like, I don't want that. I'm terrified of that. I fear that. So for me, I'm saying, listen, I got to make sure that I put my bootstraps on every day. And the challenges that I faced challenges in my relationship with my wife. I faced challenges with my children because of the time that I had to spend to make sure that I get this done.
Mm-hmm.
And there were times where my wife and we be going back and forth, and it's like, listen, babe, I understand where you at, and I understand that I gotta that, but it's the constant communication that I had to have, and sometimes I had to even humble myself because we can get so caught up in the calling, right, that we forget that, hey, your first ministry is at home,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had to understand it's really more of a balance, Irv, that I really had to figure out. And sometimes it can get testy, but most times it was a challenge that I had to understand and learn about to get better at. And it's just really all about getting 1% better every single day. And I think that's where people get it misconstrued. You don't have to, hit a home run. Just get 1% better each day.
Get better every day. Yeah. It's said, you talk about, dying empty, and I've adopted that mentality as well. I want
Sir.
to have given everything to everybody wherever I'm supposed to do it here before I die and die empty.
Yeah.
Having used everything that God placed in me to use, that He
Yes,
wants to
sir.
do through me and in me. But it's said that the richest land in the world is a cemetery
Yep.
because there's so many people who have died full of potential,
Full of potential. Full of
and
potential.
just wasted lives. But man, yeah. Listen, you got some books too, boy.
Yes,
Y'all,
sir.
he's killing us right now, isn't he? Stu, I see you, Cheryl. You still on? South Carolina, James Hicks, are you still here, man? You need to be listening to this. All right.
Yes, sir.
Not anything specific. I'm just messing with you, man. But this
Yeah.
is good stuff today. So you're an author too, and with all this other stuff you got going on, all this other stuff you've accomplished, going to school and overcoming challenges and dancing your son out of leukemia. That's
Yep.
just awesome, bro. Dance your way out of disease. That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. The
Yeah.
Dancing Dad. You've got 4 books out. One is
Yep.
Remove Yourself to Improve Yourself. You talked about that a little bit. That
Yep.
is a book that can be found on Amazon, y'all. Remove
Yep.
Yourself to Improve Yourself
Mhm.
by Kenneth Allen Thomas. And
Mhm.
it says Discovering the Greatness Within. That's
Mhm.
the subtitle. And then
Yep.
Nobody is Coming to Save You. This is what I want you to talk about. You got a book
Yeah.
out called Nobody's Coming to Save You: How to Lead
Mhm.
Through a Storm. And you have
Yeah.
a course online for this, don't you?
Yep. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Talk about that
So
book real quick. Nobody's coming to save you.
nobody coming to save you. Listen, let's listen. It's real, right? So
Yeah, I
listen,
won't put an ain't in front of it. Ain't nobody coming to save you.
ain't nobody coming to save you, right? Now check it out. Real quick story for the believers out there, okay? When I first put this out, like, YouTube is just a different animal, right? So I put this, I said, nobody's coming to save you. And here come all the Christians, here come all the believers. What are you talking about? I'm
They
saved
were,
by Jesus Christ and da 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 da. Pump the brakes. Hear what I said,
boy, we
right?
something else, ain't we?
Read it. I didn't say, nobody as in nobody one word. I separated the two,
Right, right.
right? I said no dash body is coming to save you, meaning no physical person. That's
Mm-hmm.
what a body is. No physical person or being, right, is going to come and save you to do this work for you. Let me tell you something. God going to give you the ingredients. He ain't going to cook the food for you, right?
Mm.
He going to give you everything that you need. He going to give you the resources, because last time I checked, blessings and most miracles, they come on two legs, right? They come
Right.
on two legs. Now
Right.
the thing is, we got to understand that he's going to give you everything that you need, but it's up to you in order to do the work. It's up to you to make sure that you make sure go out and do it. So the fact is, when I came up with nobody's coming to save you, right? That right there is an empowerment statement for everybody to say, hey, listen, right? There's going to be storms in your life. There's going to be, like we said before in the beginning of the podcast, like, look, there's going to be sandcastles and everything. There's going to be lighthouses out there. But guess what? Are you going to be the sandcastle, or are you going to be the lighthouse? Which one is it, right? And that's actually a parable that Jesus spoke about as well, too. It's two guys. One built this house on rock.
Right.
The other
Right.
one built it on sand, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we got to understand that mentality. And nobody's going to come and do it for you. You want to go out there and be a millionaire? Ain't nobody going to do that for you. You want to go out there and get that house? Ain't nobody going to do it for you. You got to do the research and you got to do the work. See, it's one thing to have faith. It's another thing to have strategy and faith put together, right?
Right.
And
Right.
we sometimes we got strategy and no faith, and sometimes we got faith and no strategy. But they got to work hand in hand, because nobody's going to come and do it
Faith
for you.
without works is dead.
Is dead. Period. Right. So inside the book, there are practical tools and lessons, okay, that I give you. I'm not giving y'all something that is not reachable. I'm not giving you something that's not attainable, okay? There are things inside the book where we explain, for example, how to really achieve your goals, okay? And I know there are a lot of gurus out there and stuff like that teach you how to achieve your goals. Here's what I'm saying. Let's get real, raw, and practical about it. Oftentimes people put up their goal at the beginning of the year and saying that I want to do this and I want to do that and I want to achieve this by such and such a time. That's all well and good. What's happening in between is my question, right? Where the milestones at is my question, right? Before you actually reach that goal, before I get to New York, guess what? There's a couple of toll stops that I got to get to in order to get to New York, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple things that I gotta cross over and I gotta achieve before I actually get to that particular level. The NBA playoffs is on right now. You don't go from preseason all the way to the NBA finals. No, there's round after round after round after round, and then you get to the finals, and then you got 4 more games to win after that to achieve your actual goal. So a lot of times what people end up doing, we discourage ourselves, we write these goals down, we create the vision board and all that good stuff, and I'm not knocking none of it, okay? I support it. But what are the milestones that you want to set in place? So for example, again, you want to reach, let's say you want to have you want to be making 250,000 and everything by the end of 2024. Okay, well, first you got to learn how to make 10, right? First you got to learn how to make 10, then you got to learn how to get 20, you got to turn 20 into 40, you got to turn 40 into 60, you got to turn 60 into 100. There's milestones and there's steps, and we teach you how to do that inside this book. Okay, another thing that we also teach is also how to be unshakable. Okay, and having that unshakable mindset in
Mm-hmm.
order to get to that next level. It's really a mindset. And what happens is that a lot of times people have the wrong type of crowd or audience around them. Okay, 96% of people. Okay, 96% of people. This is a real study from Boston University. They surveyed 1,000 people, and out of that 1,000, they all did something that had to deal with personal development. Okay, 96% of them fail. So I started asking the question, what's the other 4% doing?
Right.
What's the other 4% doing different? Okay, because I'm not trying to be part of the 96. I want to be part of the 4%.
Right.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
now the 4%, what they did was they discovered this one thing, Irv. They discovered the power of community, the power of environment. That is the key. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
when I say nobody's coming to save you, I'm not saying that there won't be people to help you. What I'm saying is that is for you to put your best foot forward. Stop looking in the mirror and seeing what God created, and then walking away from the mirror and seeing what the world says about you. No, 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 no. Focus on the mirror. Focus on what it is that you see, because we were created in his image and in his likeness. Okay. And don't walk away from that. Remember that as you walk away. And then you walk into the community that God is supposed to, that God has called you into. And from a community standpoint, okay, having that support system will help you. Why? Because you see like-minded individuals walking in their calling as well too. Okay, so the 4%, that's what they did different. 96%, they try to do it on their own. And guess what? Man said we shall not be alone. So therefore, stop trying to do everything by yourself. Okay. No one is coming to save you. You got to do this work though. Okay. You got to
Hmm.
do this work. You got to make sure that you put yourself in a position and have yourself in the right standpoint so you can get to that next level if that's what you truly want to do.
That's the one thing that God said wasn't good. After God
Yep.
created everything, he sat back and said, "That's good." And then he looked at man. He said, "It's not good that man is alone."
Yep.
So I don't understand why we as a society, as people, as humans, humanity, why we don't
Yep.
understand that we're all, whether it's directly or indirectly, we're all connected to one another.
Yep.
Dr. Martin Luther
Yep.
King, was very adamant about that. We're
Absolutely.
an inescapable network of mutuality tied in a single garment of destiny. That's what he said.
Yes, sir.
That's all of
Yes,
us.
sir.
Whatever,
Wow.
whatever happens to you really happens to me indirectly.
Yep.
When you go up, I go up in some measure. When you go down, I go down. And we have to find that commonality and that unity, in that we care for one another to the point that, I'm not just looking out for me, but I'm looking out for the community, because when the community goes up, we all go up. We all do better. But man, it's you got a couple other books. I'm just going to have you make a few comments on the last one.
Yeah.
But you have one, Unshakable Method: How to Build
Yep.
Your Self Confidence and Never Look Back. Boy, I'm gonna get that one. And
Yeah.
then
That's
you have
actually on audio as well too.
oh, you do.
Yep.
I'm old fashioned like you. Not
Yep.
only do I listen to the old hymns, but I need to have a book in my hand. I
Yep.
can't do it, on my phone or on my tablet. I got to have a
Absolutely.
book where I can write in it, I can scribble in it, I can highlight it. Then you have another
Absolutely.
book called Allen, which is your middle name. Wrong place,
Yes.
right time. And it's a true story
Mhm.
about your life. What's that about? Before we get
Yeah,
off the air.
so so this one is heavy. So that's a little memoir. That was actually one of the first books that I wrote. And I was going through a lot of pain. And again, I'm a vulnerable individual in the right circumstance, right? For the right reasons. So the book Alan is about my story with my ex-wife. Okay. I was married at 21, y'all. And when I was married at 21, that was one of the biggest I don't want to say it was a mistake. It was something that I went through and something that I had to learn, and maybe it was just part of my story that I had to go through. But it was very, very probably the darkest time of my life. And at that time, the person that I was with, before we got married, we had a child. Okay. And, about 2.5 years into the relationship, I ended up finding out that the child that we were raising inside of our marriage as well wasn't mine, wasn't biologically mine. And that was not only traumatizing, but something that I don't wish on no man or nobody to go through at all. So when people see the whole Murray and stuff like that, you are not the father. That stuff is real. That stuff hit home for me, and it's not like people glorify it as a funny thing. I don't look at it as a funny thing because I actually went through that because I wasn't the father and I wanted to be a father. And I remember my mom at the time, before we had got married. You ever see on TV where people are like, hey, they'll object in the wedding. That was my mom before the wedding. My
Ooh.
mom, the day of the wedding,
Don't moms
I'm
know
walk
for some reason? Why
they just
moms?
know.
Y'all
They
listen to
just
your
know.
mama. My mom. Look, I've suffered some pain in my life because I ain't
Yep.
listened to my mama.
Yep. Yep. And my mom was see, my dad was different. My dad would let me go through that pain and let me feel it, right?
Right.
My mom was more, son, you ain't got to do this. On the driveway, the day of the wedding,
Wow.
you ain't got to do this. She said those words to me. You ain't got to do this. And I'm young. I'm like, you know what, mom, I got it. I got it. You know what you're talking about? Like, I get it. Like, and that was my mentality.
Uh,
Lo and behold, I was going to go down a road that I never saw coming. And everybody else knew, but I was in denial. I didn't want to
mhm.
believe it. I didn't want to believe that this person would do this to me. And
Well, you were trying to do the right thing.
I was
You were
trying to do the
trying
right
to do
thing.
the right thing. Yeah.
Right. That's it. And 24, 25 years old, ended up getting divorced. And from that point on, I went down a road, and I talk about this in the book. I went down a road, and I don't want to give it all away, but I went down a road of girl after girl after girl after girl, trying to find, you know, this trying to cope with the situation. And
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't necessarily like the best way to go about it at all, because I wasn't leaning on God at the time. I didn't really start leaning on God until I turned 30, right? And the thing was, when I turned 30, that's when, I call this my burning bush moment. And the burning bush moment was when I was in a house that, um, you know, ended up getting caught on fire, and my house ended up burning down 2 weeks after I left that place. I was in that house for 3.5 years. 3.5 years I was in that place, and anything could have happened at any given time. 2.5 weeks later, I see that house on the sky cam, on the news, on Channel 10 News. That's my house burning down, the only one in the complex burning down. And at that moment is when I dropped to my knees. At that moment is where I said, all right, God, you got my attention, because all the stuff that I was doing by myself wasn't getting me nowhere. Sure,
Mm-hmm.
I had some success, right? And you know, the old saying goes, Irv, you want to go fast, go alone. You want to go far, go together,
Right.
right?
Right.
And I started to look at that, and and the book is pretty much a part one of my life, where I do have to do a part two that's going to be coming out soon. So that may be the next one that I publish.
That that experience that you had,
Yeah.
finding out that the child wasn't yours after you had been with this young lady, even married
Yep.
to her. That
Yep.
happens. I think that happens on a more frequent basis to a lot of
Yep.
females.
Oh
And
yeah.
and then they go through the same thing that you went through, man after man after man. You wasn't man, you were females, but man
Right.
after man after man after man, trying to cope with that, trying to figure that situation out rather than stepping away.
Yep.
And like you said, isolating yourself so you can elevate yourself.
Yep. Yep.
Giving yourself time to heal, giving yourself time to hear from God, giving God time to work in you what needs to be worked out of you, so that you can present the best of you the next time around when God
Yes,
gives
sir.
you who He wants you to have. So,
Yes, sir.
man,
Mm.
listen, we're gonna have you on again. All right,
Yes,
this was
sir.
not enough. We're gonna have you on again. He's gonna have me on his podcast, y'all. So I'll let y'all
Yep.
know where can people follow you on
Yeah.
Instagram or Facebook.
Yeah, yeah. So you guys can just look me up, Kenneth Allen Thomas, Kennith. Kenneth Allen Thomas. Just look up Kenneth Allen Thomas everywhere. Or you can find me on Instagram, Kenny Clutch _ Clutch with a C. You can find me there. I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram, and I'm posting, daily messages every day. You guys can even go to my website, KennethAllenThomas.com. Get into the newsletter. I send out a newsletter once a month, some inspiration and some of the other things that we offer as well too. Or you can jump into the Unshakable Method training. I suggest that everybody take the 30-day challenge. I challenge you all, take the 30-day challenge, get into the challenge, and come on and test yourself and everything with us to elevate and go to that next level. We all got one. All right, so unlock it right now, because we ain't got time to waste.
Young man, thank you.
Yes, sir.
This is one of the best podcasts. I've been doing this for not quite 2 years now, but Doc, you hit the ball out of the park today. I
Yes, sir.
really do appreciate you. Yes, it is said that you have wisdom beyond your years, and that's by no stretch of the imagination, bro. I really do appreciate you, and I'm so proud that not that I had anything to do with it, but I'm so proud that our paths crossed at some point, and that I
Yes.
know someone who is really making a positive impact in this crazy, unstable world right now. But
Yes, sir.
everything's under control. Because God is in control. It looks like things are
Listen,
out of control, but things are. Go ahead. I just hit
say
something. I
it.
just I just lit a fire. Go
Say
ahead.
this. Say, listen, listen, listen. We're not in control, but we are in charge. I'm gonna say it again. Listen, we're not in control, but we are in charge. We're in charge of how we respond. We're in charge of how we react. We're in charge of that. Okay. We're not in control of the weather. It may rain later on this week. You ain't in control of that, but you are in control on how you prepare for that. Okay. And when you understand that, let me tell you something. Life gets a lot easier. Life gets a lot simpler. Okay. And I've taken on that. Embrace that. Embrace the challenges, y'all. Embrace the challenge, because guess what? That's life. Nobody said it was going to be easy. Nobody did. I tell my sons and everything all the time. My 14-year-old, he just started working. He got a job at McDonald's. He want to make himself a little bit of money. And he comes to me, he said, like, they only giving me, 4 hours. I suck at this job. They only giving me 4 hours. How am I supposed to get better in 4 hours? I said, you got to maximize everything inside those 4 hours. You're not in control of what they give you. You're in charge of how you respond to it.
Wow. Y'all, that's it. We're done. Bro,
Mm-hmm.
thank you.
Amen.
I'm going to holler at you, all right? Thank you so
Yes,
much.
sir.
Proud of you, bro. I really am.
Yes,
proud of you. Keep doing what you're doing the way you're doing it, and just stay in the Lord's hands. Everything will be all right, bro. Tell your wife I said, hey, all right?
Will do.
All right,
now.
Doc. We'll holler at you. God bless you, man.
You
all
too.
right.
All right.
Well, y'all, I told you. Didn't I tell you? Y'all don't want to believe me. I told you. The cat is anointed, and that was a great show. Great information. Go back and watch this show again. It'll post here in a few minutes when we sign off. But go back and watch this. I'm going to take some clips from it, and I'm going to repost it, repurpose them, and post them again. But today was a great day. A great interview with a great young man who is doing the work of the Lord, which is always the best. It's always top notch. It's always what is needed. So Florence, thanks for being with us today. Wanda, I see you too. Cheryl, isolate yourself to elevate yourself. Oh, I need to get some Chick-fil-A sauce for all these nuggets dropped today. Girl, you something else. Yes, sir. Isolate yourself. I think I said that, to elevate yourself. I don't know. He might have said that. I think I said that. South Carolina. All right. Thank you. Mama, I see you. She said, man, with a lot of wisdom. You talking about me? You talking about him? Stuart, good to see you. Farmer, I'm glad you hung in there. I told you were going to be blessed. Cheryl, you said you were going to hang in here until we sign off. We haven't signed off yet, but I know you're still here. Thank you for being with us today. Wanda, thank you for being with us today. James Hicks, I don't know if you're still with us or not, man, but prayerfully you got some knowledge today that will be helpful to you. Who else is on here? Hope, thanks for being with us today, sister. Farmer, you're still there. Okay. I think that's it. Vanetta, what's up? You haven't made any comments, but I see use your gift to make the shift. Yep, that's right. You guys are paying attention. Good stuff today. Richard Melton, I see you, cuz. What's going on? Good to see you. Yes, the Fryar Place is back in effect, and we came hitting hard today. We had a home run today. Our guest today was phenomenal. Kenneth, Allen, Thomas, y'all go check him out on social media. And even check out, he's got a book, Nobody's Coming to Save You, How to Lead Through a Storm. That's a course online. Y'all check that out. Chris Womack, what's going on? Vinny, I see you too. Y'all, I'm out of here. We'll be back next week with another great guest here at the Fryar Place, where the conversations are fire at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Until then, hold it down. Yeah, you can make it. You can do it. It all depends on how you respond to the situation. Y'all heard it today. Respond in a positive, upbeat, positive, right way. Not turning left, but turn right. Do the right thing, and you'll always come out right. All right? Love y'all. God bless you. We'll see you next week. All right? Let me hit this theme music. Take us out. There it is. Here it is. There it is right there. I'll see y'all next week. Peace.